Okay, so now because that's, DC talk about that goes into the WB. The big thing about the market is everybody's talking about the fact there's a potential sale of WB and HBO, and Netflix and Paramount are both kind of vying for this. So both of them have different ideas of what to do with WB and HBO. Both are huge companies looking at incorporating them. And there was an interview with Zachary Levi that I think was very interesting.
Shazam!
And Shazam, exactly. Shazam. He's always going to be Chuck. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He will be Chuck, yeah.
So I want to see. I want to show you guys.
Kid, and then he'd be Flynn Rider.
He is.
Oh,
He
yeah,
will be
he's
Flynn
Flynn
Rider.
Mm.
All right, here we go. Here's the actual. Here's what he
Hey.
actually said when asked about it.
I don't love the idea that anybody's going to buy Warner Brothers, to be perfectly honest. Warner Brothers has been a home for me for many years. I did Chuck there for 5 years. Shazam, both films, these are Warner Brothers DC films. I love Warner Brothers as a studio. I have a lot of friends there, but they've also been going through lots and lots and lots of issues over these last 10 years. First with the AT&T deal that was not good for them, then with the Discovery deal that, ultimately with all of these consolidations, lots and lots of people are losing their jobs. More and more, I think great art is not being made. I think with the Netflix deal, it's particularly troubling because they don't really care about theatrical release. And I think that theatrical release is imperative for us. I think that not just from a financial modeling or, allowing filmmakers and artists to be able to, make a living making movies that go into theaters that people pay for tickets. But when we don't go to theaters, this is something that's, I think, driving us apart. Part of the theatrical experience for decades is that you go to a theater and you are surrounded by strangers, people that don't look like you, don't agree with you. It might come from different political or religious backgrounds, whatever it is. But you know that you can go watch the same movie and laugh in the same moments and cry in the same moments. And what that does is it reminds you, either consciously or subconsciously, that we're not all that different. And so when we don't go to the theater as people and we don't enjoy these things as a collective, we lose even more of that connective tissue. And I know that Netflix is, Sid Sarandos has said as much. He said, I think we can do film windows that, theatrical windows that are like a week or 2 weeks. And that's just simply not enough time, I think, to give a great film its opportunity in the theater. Some films don't even pick up their inertia until a few weeks in the theaters, when word of mouth gets out and people start going to the theater and experiencing that as it was meant to be exhibited. And so I really don't love that. I don't love the consolidation. I don't love that with streaming, by the way. This is another issue that we have, and something that I'm actively trying to solve for. We don't own anything anymore. We're all just leasing everything. And I don't think that's right. I don't love the idea that as an artist, I could go make something and there's no physical copy of it anymore because nobody's making DVDs or anything like that. And so it only lives on a streamer. And then the streamer decides, well, we don't want to put this on the service anymore. And it's gone. It's literally gone. I can't point my friends or family or fans to go watch what I made. It doesn't exist anymore because it's not on the streaming service anymore. And I don't think that's good either. I think we as the audience, we as the people, more and more of us are waking up to the fact that we are just renting everything. It's just subscription after subscription. I mean, by the way, I said this 15 years ago when everyone was cutting the cord on cable. I told all my friends, I said, do you realize what's going to happen? We're going to cut this $100 cord, this bill that's got all these channels, and certainly some that we don't care about and we don't watch. And that's, why are we paying for all this? But then what's going to happen is we're going to have 10 subscriptions over a whole bunch of different services, and we're going to pay twice as much. And
okay, so pretty much that right there is pretty powerful. What he did talk about is this merger, something that a lot of people are talking about right now, right?
Sure.
And he touched on several things. I think number one, the big thing about not owning anything, we'll go into that too. But the whole idea of going to the movies, that right there, obviously since COVID, I don't think the movie industry has bounced back.
There was a problem of right after COVID, there wasn't enough movies to get people back to the movie theater. But I think Zootopia's helped. I think this year there's been a few movies that have helped get people back to be like, oh, that's right, we can go to the movies. I think that's been a step in the right direction there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And the surefire hits haven't truly hit, like Marvel's in a bit of a slump. and DC is just hopefully finally coming back, and hopefully Marvel will too. I'm hopeful. But
Hope
the
so.
big thing is looking at that, I can't imagine. I know a lot of people that I talk to are very apathetic about the movie theater now. They're like, "I'll watch it on streaming," and
Mm.
and that's fine because getting people to go to the movies, I have a handful of people that would still go with me. Other people would be like, "I'll just wait to watch it at home," and I can't imagine those movies we grew up with seeing them on the small screen.
Right.
It's a different experience. So I want our
Mm-hmm.
kids and us to experience those movies as they should be on the big
Yeah.
screen.
Well, the thing is, and it's just like he said, it's one thing to sit at your house and doesn't matter how big your screen is, and laugh at a scene that you think was funny, compared to being around 50 people and hearing their laughter as well with you. It
Mhm.
makes it
Mm.
makes it funny. It makes it more of an experience whenever you have or feel that kind of pain whenever people see a really tense moment. If you, it might be one of those things where if you're sitting inside of a theater and you see a scene and you don't really think too much about it, but then you hear someone 2 rows back kind of gasp like, oh, then you sit there and think, oh wow, yeah, that's for it makes you kind of think a little bit more about what you're seeing.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, going opening weekend is so incredible because of all those people's reactions and laughing and all that. There's nothing like it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So Elizabeth Olsen said something kind of similar, how she doesn't make movies that will go for streaming. She wants people to, go to the movie theater. She thinks it's important for people to gather with other people that,
Mhm.
friends or not friends, and enjoy something together and have that sense of community. I think that's an
Yeah.
important thing we need.
I think Tom Cruise did the same thing when he released Maverick because he could have put that on streaming too.
Mm-hmm.
But he
Yeah.
said no, he's going to wait.
He
He's going
held
to wait
off.
to see it. So
Mhm.
that way it's in the theater. And it's like people are today's generation, especially, they're afraid of that social interaction, and it's just they
Yep.
don't really want to be around people. Everyone's kind of more of a
Mm.
introverted type, and they don't really necessarily want to have that experience. But
I was gonna say it was nice when we went to go see Five Nights at Freddy's. There was a lot of people at that, like younger people
Mhm.
nice.
at that movie
Mhm.
theater. That was kind of good to see. I was like, huh, this is something you
Sure.
don't see often. It was good to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're coming back, which is
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
Mm.
and kind of going back to what we are talking about with Tarantino with the that podcast I listened to, he said, because they were asking him about his 10th film, when he was going to do it, and he said he's in no rush. He's actually writing a play right now that he wants to put on the in London, in the West End in London, because he says that you don't know what the theater landscape is going to look like 3, 4, 9, 10 years down the road.
Which is
Uh,
it's true.
yeah.